hope y'all can hear me because I have these earpod things on. I just wanted to say this, right? When it comes to that nurse and the lady that works at the retail place going viral in reference to nurses and the lack of empathy, humanity, integrity, all that kind of stuff. I don't know about y'all, but I saw them trying to come at that lady for working at some store as if her opinion didn't count, when in fact it counts the most, because nurses of course are gonna lie for each other because that's the shit they do. I mean, did we not just recently have a white woman get arrested for killing people at her job? And you know that's historical with nurses and doctors, but they like to kill people because they have a God complex. You can look it up. It was a lady, I can remember the state, white woman, what state she was in, but she was slowly killing all of her patients, and she kept a damn a trophy book. A trophy book, just like the crazy woman did in the Misery movie. But let me tell y'all a real story. I used to work for the hospital, right? As a part-time or per diem, you know, the people that you call on call to just make extra money to work at the hospital. The ward clerk, right? This is years and years ago. I think like 2008, part-time or whatever. So anyway, I worked in Flushing Hospital. They call it New York. What the fuck do they call that hospital? New York Presbyterian Hospital, but it used to be called Flushing Hospital. And New York, and way before that, it used to be called Booth Memorial, right? In Flushing, on Main Street. So anyway, let me tell y'all something. Those nurses, and they still are to this day, I don't give a shit what nobody says. People just don't like to tell the truth about things, right? Now, of course, you have exceptions to every rule, but the collective of them, they're only there for money. They rarely do any work. They push all their work off on the CNAs and those other people. I forgot what they're called. It's another group of women that work with the CNAs. What are those people called? They usually, I forget, but you people in the medical field, you know what I'm talking about. It's a something tech, right? So it's a different type of tech that's under the nurse, and then the lowest level of people that work with the nurses are the CNAs. So these bitches, and that's what I'm calling them, they would let old people die, right? Because they would talk their family members into signing do not resuscitate forms, right? So you had all these old people that were scared as fuck in the hospital for illnesses where if they actually did die momentarily, like if their heart stopped or they stroked out and you could get them back, they didn't have to really flatline and stay flatline. It was just because they were old. Nobody cared about the old people and their family didn't want to be bothered with them. That hundreds, and I'm not fucking with you, hundreds of old people died a month at that hospital because their families signed do not resuscitate forms, okay? That's the kind of shit they were doing. And then when the families allowed the do not resuscitate form to be signed, and the person was old, and let's say they went into some type of cardiac arrest or anything where it was life-threatening, do you know these fucking people would not even respond on time to the patient's room? They would take their time so that the person would be dead before they got there. And since they had that do not resuscitate form signed, sometimes the people would literally suffer to death and they didn't give a fuck. That's how nurses get down. So when this lady is talking about how foul a lot of them are and they do things for money, whatever, clout, whatever, the lifestyle, the acknowledgement, it's true. Because it's probably a small percentage of nurses this big, or less than 5%, that actually are people that are caring and that care about other people, and they're actually there to do their job. Not talk shit on the floor, fuck with the maintenance crew. Is it maintenance? Yeah, they call it something else in the hospital. Housekeeping. Fuck with the housekeeping people. Harass all the orderlies and the people that wheel everybody back and forth from like x-rays emergency room, not dietary, sorry, that's with the housekeeping, dialysis. Listen, I can't remember everything because it was like years and years ago, but the shit, those nurses used to like literally terrorize everybody on the floor, okay? So let's be real. Now, you made that particular nurse, maybe she didn't do all that stuff, but I can guarantee if you was a fly on the wall and you literally saw how she performed her job every day throughout the year, you would see some real wicked, nasty, grimy shit, because that's just how they are. During that time, right, when I was there at the hospital, I was working just part-time too, like every now and then per diem. There's the thing called a crash card, right? That shit is crazy expensive in the hospital. This fucking nurse lied and said that I had dropped something off the crash card. I don't even come into contact with that shit as part of the duties of the job that I had back then, right? So this is the type of character that these women have on a like collective or general basis. So when people are saying that, you know, they're fucked up, they're grimy, and they really don't care about their patients, it's true. Here in New York City, right? Some of the worst hospitals, no thank you, thanks. Some of the worst hospitals are in Brooklyn. Everybody knows the infamous, totally like, you should never go in there unless you just want to die, Woodhull Hospital, right? Every nurse in there is a piece of trash. Every doctor in there is a piece of trash. So all this shit where these nurses and doctors, no, not doctors, but it's mostly nurses, always fucking protesting, going on strike, always trying to get more money. They don't ever really do any work. Then on top of that, the caliber of their work and the quality of their work is shit. I'm telling you, it is literally shit. And they have the worst attitudes. Like, I can remember being, like I said, the ward clerk, and people would just come out of surgery, or they just would be hungry in the middle of the night. And so they ring the front desk, and of course I pick up. And I'm like, how can I help you? These bitches don't ever answer the calls for the beds, right? They would be complaining to give someone a damn cup of Jello. A cup of Jello. They're complaining. And they're getting upset when the families come in and start going off about how their loved one is not being taken care of. So when this lady is saying what she's saying about these nurses, and even a lot of doctors too, let's be real, the medical field is just full of shit. And then when you couple in how many people die unnecessarily every year, they need to start passing bills and passing laws, and people need to start advocating for it, for these motherfuckers to go to jail for mass murder. Because a lot of people that they kill don't have to die. It's complete malpractice and 100% negligence a lot of fucking times. So all of this back and forth, sorry y'all, I'm walking by the expressway. All of this back and forth about this shit about this nurse, it's a bunch of bullshit. And it's nothing but overkill on the sympathy part for people that are sitting here trying to justify nurses and their disgusting behavior and their mentality towards patients and the families and everything else, right? They are trash. They really are. And that's the reason why they don't ever want you to have cameras in the hospitals or anything like that, because you would really be able to record just how shitty these people are and how they don't properly care for your loved ones. And if I could give y'all any advice, always read up on everything that some doctor or nurse is telling you. A lot of hospitals have libraries in the hospital when you go there. Whatever they tell you and talk to you about, write everything down verbatim. Tell them to print you out information on what they're talking about, everything they're speaking about that concerns the patient, and then go to that library and do your own research right there in the hospital. And also always seek out, I would say, a second, third, even fourth opinion from other doctors in the same field, because you can't trust none of these people. You really can't. And a lot of people, just because they're a doctor and they went to school, does not mean that they were the best students. A lot of these people barely made it out of school, don't know what the fuck they're doing, and now they're in the office cutting and digging, pulling and prodding on people. Come on, y'all gotta be realistic. This is real life. We talk about everyday real people who just go to work to pass the time to get a check a lot of the time. I'm telling you. It's crazy. So, listen, I say forget all the hoopla over how many people want to be on the side of the nurse that was losing her fucking mind and on the side of the young woman that was talking from her low-level job that everybody is trying to shame her for, which they should not, because what the fuck are you doing? It takes everybody time to go to school to become something, and maybe right now she's in the process of doing that. So, but because she doesn't have what you all feel she should have, or she's not living up to your opinion of who she's supposed to be wherever she is in life with her employment, now you feel like it's okay to cut her ass and talk about, and say shit like she doesn't have a right to talk because she works at a retail location versus a nurse. Man, fuck a nurse, fuck a doctor. The only difference between you and them is that this country is very prejudiced, and it makes things very expensive for the everyday person to do the same thing a person with money is able to do. However, be real clear and understand that if everyday poor people had the opportunity to become a doctor, nurse, lawyer, whatever, just like white people do abundantly, it would be a better fucking world, and you would have better quality doctors, nurses, and everybody else. Because here in New York, when you apply to nursing school, right, they don't take everybody that applies to nursing school. They take a certain percent, and then no matter how you score or how well you do in school, you don't get in. You see, because they do not want everybody to succeed. They like to keep the disparity between poor and rich, educated and uneducated. And that's the whole reason why, if anything, I would never, medicine is one of those things where if you're going to go for it, in my opinion, I think you need to go for the goal, which is to be a doctor. Because that way, you don't have to worry about none of that nurse shit and all that. Just go ahead and be a doctor, because you're going to get the best out of everything that is to be given, and you'll live a much better life regardless. And you don't have to fight with people over money and yelling and screaming about reputation, because you'll have it instantaneously. And what you decide to do with it, I guess, would be on you. Like, I was thinking about that. Like, I was saying to myself, if I ever wanted to become a doctor, I would be an eye doctor. Because I like to see. So, I think that would be the easiest thing to do for me, And that's just my little 2 cents in there about what I would like to be if I was going to go that route. But nurses is shit. They always have been. They always will. Like I said, if you come across a nice one who's cool, does their job without all of that judgment of every goddamn patient that comes before them, their family, and thinking they know every fucking thing just because they went to school, and they seem to forget that if everybody else was exposed to the same information you were and taught the same thing, I would probably wager that a lot of people that you ran into would probably be better at your job than you are. Because they just always try to cut down and minimize everybody else who's not doing the same thing they're doing. It's real. And they think anytime they speak to you, because you don't know the medical terminology, you're stupid. And it's like, no, actually I'm not. But we know why it's like that, because when they go to school, all of these schools try to teach these people to be weird forms of elitists that look down on people that are not doing the same profession as them. It's really sick. But it further keeps the stratification in society going, and the haves versus the have-nots. That's what it does. But anyway, listen. I'm all for the lady that was talking about the nurses, because I know they ain't shit. And you know they ain't shit either deep down inside, because just watch. And if you think I'm wrong and you have a difference of opinion, wait till the next time you got to go to the doctor for a regular routine checkup. Something is wrong with you, or God forbid, you got to go to the emergency room. Watch how nasty those bitches are going to be, and how they don't give a fuck about what you're going through. And then we'll see if the little girl from the retail was right or wrong. All right, I'm going to say goodnight now. Okay, as I'm tired. I just finished dropping off flannel sheets, bedding for my grandchildren so they can sleep warm, and extra comforters for the week of Christmas. I don't know, that's just some shit my mother used to do with us, so I started doing it with my kids, and now I do it with my grandchildren. It's like you get new sheets, new comforters, new bedding, all that stuff for the week of Christmas. And then, well, I know the way we do it is every couple of days we bring gifts. We don't give them out, but we gather gifts until Christmas Eve. And so I go back tomorrow, get more toys and stuff, and then I should be done. But I really have to go to the North Face store tomorrow. That's a priority, to get Steph a coat, because Steph be out here not as warm as she needs to be. Even though I am warm, but you know what I mean. Like, when you steady, always doing stuff for other people, it's imperative that you take time to do the right thing for yourself. Like, I'm warm, but I don't like, how can I put it? I need some quality stuff sometimes too. I don't always have to be shortchanging myself, excuse me, to make sure I give to everybody else, because that is something I do. So I have to learn to stop doing that. But for right now, it is what it is. So that's going to be my gift to myself, is a really, really warm, really, really good winter coat, because it is cold as fuck in New York City. Always is. But anyway, such is life. Let me get out of here, because I have talked way too much all over the place about nothing. I was supposed to be talking about that hospital thing. Why am I talking about a coat now? All right. Good night, black women. Good night, y'all. Be well. Just wanted to say that when I went back to watch the video that I'm going to splice this with, I want to make it clear, because I know people who work in the medical field are gonna try to pick apart what I was saying, but understand that it's understood that when I'm talking about people who wanted to eat after surgery or late at night, that it was approved by their orders, okay? Don't come on here talking about, oh, you think because you don't work in the hospital, you don't know that they're not supposed to eat after surgery or late at night. No, that's not what it is, okay? It's the fact that they're fucking lazy and they don't want to do anything for the patients. They just want to run their fucking mouth behind the desk and harass other people that work in other departments that they feel are beneath them. That is what I was talking about, because I literally saw that and had to deal with that every day, to the point where I actually had to make an actual complaint to the state about the hospital and the staff. Okay? So yeah, it's real. They fucking suck.